All right, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer, aka Spencer the Wiz. I'm doing some stuff for Vegas Sports Daily today with Mike Dixon, and I'm very happy to announce that I will be interviewing none other than Stacey Moore, the owner of the American Cornhole League, the one that you've seen on ESPN through all this pandemic and stuff. So I'm really excited. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce him now. Stacey Moore, how are you doing today?
Great, Spencer. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, can I ask you an easy question maybe to start off with here? Why is it called cornhole?
I wish I had a good answer for that. It was already called cornhole when I decided to take it from a tailgating game to a sport. People in different parts of the country call it bags. You hear a lot.
Yeah,
But as I got into it, I was thinking about trying to change the name of it, but I didn't just want to go against it. Cornhole was out there. It was a popular term for it, and so I just kept it.
that's great. So when did you personally start playing cornhole? Like when did this all begin?
I personally started playing at tailgates, just like a lot of people, and I never became a super competitive player, but I was watching other people play, and the more that I watched them play with intensity and started to learn about these tournaments that were going on and people were trying to play for money, I said, "Huh, there's a lot more strategy to this than I thought, and I think I can elevate it from a tailgating game to a sport."
So when did that become a reality for you to see the competition, to
Yeah,
see it all like? When did you actually start the league?
yeah. So just over 5 years ago. So it's been quite a ride for the last 5 to 7 years.
So the league's been around for 5 years, and obviously when the pandemic hit, there were no sports. It got completely taken off. It was the first thing to go when all of this kind of hit. So did the gear start churning for you when the pandemic started, or did someone approach you about the cornhole league?
No, so yeah, we had already had an existing contract with ESPN where we were doing 5 professional events, and they're kind of spread out. So we were in the second year of our agreement there, and so we had done our first event. This event last year we pulled off, but then our second event, which was going on during March Madness, got canceled when we were in Cleveland because of COVID. And then we were like, well, what are we going to do now? We went to the drawing board, convinced ESPN, we're a naturally socially distant sport. If we wear masks and socially distant, we should be able to get back on. We developed our own COVID protocols and were able to become the first live sport back on TV. Barely beat out the UFC earlier that day when they came back. And then we went on 7 straight weeks, 4 hour shows on ESPN, which was incredible for us.
Yeah, so I'm actually curious. How did this initial conversation between you and ESPN start 5 years ago? Do you go to them, or are they just always adding to their portfolio? I have no idea how it works.
Yeah, no, I definitely went to them in order to legitimize this tailgate game as a sport. So we have to surround it with a compelling broadcast. And obviously, ESPN being the worldwide leader in sports, that was our target. I convinced them to give us a shot on ESPN3, and they watched what we did for a year, and they liked what we were doing, and they said, "Hey, we've got this open slot on ESPN2." They told me about, I think it was 6 weeks before our second championships. They approached me and said they had this live window. Would I like to take a shot at it? I said absolutely. We went viral that day on Twitter and entered into a 3-year agreement with them right after that.
How does this become serious? I mean, when you just start the league, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. So how did it grow, and like how did you get it as big as it did, so where you could approach ESPN comfortably?
So really, we grew the league grassroots. So we have local directors all over the country that are running local events. So we also developed our own technology to capture scores and stats around the game. And we also created different competition levels and a point system that allows people to start out at the local level, but then come and compete in national events. And then that allowed us to evolve it into a professional sport and establish the pro division that we have going on right now.
Yeah, which is great. So what have you seen personally about the growth? Like what from when you first started to what you see now, how different is it to in the American Cornhole League?
I'm just surprised at the depth of the competition that we have, especially at the pro level. But even in our advanced division, those guys are highly competitive, playing really well, and so I've seen everyone kind of elevate their game to a different level. And we've seen kind of new shots and new strategies evolve over the last couple of years that I never thought would happen. We've seen a lot of improvements with our bag manufacturers, with the fabrics that they're using, and how innovative that they're getting as they create kind of the next greatest cornhole bag out there. We've got a slew of approved bag manufacturers that are constantly innovating and elevating our sport to the next level. So that's been really cool to see.
Yeah. So what do you see the future of this league looking like as it's currently expanding all the time? Like what improvements do you maybe want to see? What changes would you like?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest pushes for us is international play and development. So we're still in the very early stages of other countries competing. We actually have an event coming up that we're going to have 30 different countries participating virtually, playing virtual cornhole. We're going to qualify our first international pros this year. And so we're looking forward to that international growth. And then we're going to push a lot harder to develop organized cornhole at the high school level. So that's one of our next big things that we want to do. So.
And what about the Olympics? I suppose that could also be a sport in there. I think that'd be awesome to see.
Yeah, definitely. Olympics is on our targets. So we're working with USA Cornhole, which is the nonprofit here in the U.S. Then they're on NBC Sports Network. Obviously, we just signed a deal with CBS as well as ESPN. So we'll be doing 9 more events on CBS this year that we're excited about. And then the International Federation, we're setting that up as well to hopefully make cornhole an Olympic sport.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you know anything about the process? Like, how does an Olympic sport get added? Because they have a lot of random sports. Let's be honest. Cornhole is not outside the question.
Definitely not outside the question. So, for example, like break dancing was able to go up through, I believe it was ballet or an already established international federation. So, a lot of niche sports, if they can latch on to a current international federation, that's probably the easiest way to do it. But for us, there's no real natural international federation for us. So we've got to create it. We got to convince them that we can do it. And so we're in that process, and we hope that we get approved quickly. But we'll see. Quickly in Olympic terms could be 8 years. Who knows? But we're starting that process.
Not expecting to see you at Tokyo, unfortunately, but we'll get there. So let's say I'm interested in joining this league or somehow finding a way to get competitive. What's the best way for anybody to get involved in the American Cornhole League?
Yeah, you just visit iPlayACL.com and you find a local director in your area to start playing in their events.
Yeah, so when you actually, I'm curious because you guys are the rule setters. Like you are like basically the standard for cornhole now. How do you decide that? Like, what's the process like? Was it you? Was it a group of people? Like, who sets the rules for the Cornhole League?
Yeah, so when I came along, there were a lot of different rule sets that were out there from different people that were organizing the game or they were running events. And so I looked at what other people were doing. I had my own thoughts about what the rules should be and how I wanted to evolve it into a legitimate sport. And so I ended up surrounding myself with a lot of the competitive players to get their opinions on the rules that we initially set. And we just kind of evolved it from there by having, like I said, passionate people who've been playing this sport competitively before I even existed. So, I mean, people have been playing cornhole competitively on some level for 10 plus years. And so I leveraged those guys' expertise and opinions a lot.
Awesome. Yeah, no, do the rules change every year, or in your mind, are they pretty much set right now?
Yeah, we definitely evolve them. We tweak them a little bit year after year, but nothing major since we created a bring your own bag policy, which was something that was really unique, but something that has driven innovation in our sport. So we approve bag manufacturers. We have 48 different companies that are actually manufacturing cornhole bags with our license right now. So that was a big innovation for us rules wise, and kind of governing the equipment specs and those standards and everything else is something that's unique to us.
Yeah, I actually curious about like the marketing side of it. So in the future, will you have like advertisements on their bag, on the clothes? Like, what is the strategy for like getting that stuff in?
Yeah,
Because the NBA obviously has like they had headbands for a while. Now the jerseys have logos on them. So like, how exactly does that work?
yeah. Our pro players are allowed to put 5 sponsors on their jerseys right now, and they're allowed to have 1 sponsor on their cornhole bag.
Wow.
So yeah,
So who are some of your bigger sponsors that you've seen throughout the cornhole league?
yeah. So Johnsonville has been our tentpole sponsor, I would say. They got on board with us very early coming into this season. We just signed a new 2-year deal with them. So you always see Johnsonville as the large logo on our cornhole board. We have Bush's Best Baked Beans. We have Pit Boss. So you can tell with those 3, there's a great tailgating theme going on around our national sponsors. We're happy to add it. We've added on Guaranteed Rate and now DraftKings.
Yeah, so I would love to get into this. So you're partnering with DraftKings. So I have a lot of questions about this. So who sets the odds when you're playing these cornhole leagues? Like, how do you even get a number out there for DraftKings to put up?
Yeah, so we've been working with DraftKings here for the past couple of months, going through that process of allowing them to analyze our stats. Like I said, we're tracking our pros. We're tracking every bag they throw at events now. So we've got a database that the odds makers can access and get our opinion and develop lines around. So it's been a very collaborative process with the odds makers there. But DraftKings, they have their own odds makers there in Vegas that we've been working with to come out with these initial lines. And this is the first time we're ever releasing lines around our sport, which is super exciting.
Yeah, so I know there's like a couple of states you guys are doing now, but eventually, would you like to see this on a national scale? Do you want to see this like, are you just testing it out? Like, what do you want the future of sports betting in cornhole to look like?
I want to take advantage of every opportunity. I want to be everywhere we can be, for sure. So, yeah, working hard to get legalized on a state by state basis right now, and yeah, hopefully, we're rolling out, the 2-win future odds right now on both Super Hole and the kickoff battle. We're actually doing some matchup odds on the Super Hole event that's coming up tomorrow night, which is pretty cool. And then I hope to get into more individual match odds as we evolve.
Talk about the Super Bowl thing, which is really cool. So last year, I think you guys had Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones. Absolutely, which is really cool. They get paired up with professionals. They end up competing against each other. How do you approach some of these star players? And this year, we'll talk about some guys from Alabama. But last year, how do you get these guys together to do this?
We just came up with that theme. We were talking to people. We were floating it around, and I can't remember if it was Daniel's agent first or Sam's agent, but one of those 2 guys really gravitated towards a concept. And once we got one of them, we said, wouldn't it be cool to pair him against the other New York quarterback for the first ever Super Bowl? And so that's just kind of how it evolved. We love this idea of pairing up celebrities with our ACL pros. The celebrities really enjoy it. Most of these current and former athletes enjoy picking up a cornhole bag and throwing it and trying to make it in the hole. And we like to pair them up with pros so the pros can coach them and guide them a little bit. And the fans can see during the broadcast, they can see the real skill of our ACL pros and enjoy cheering for their favorite athletes from other sports. So it's something that we've done charity events around. And the Super Bowl competition broadcast, I think we've hit on something that hopefully we'll do for many years to come.
Yeah, so this year, like I had teased just a second ago, Mac Jones, Devontae Smith, some former NFL players are going to be there. So a lot of athletes. It's really cool. It's going to be airing on ESPN. Although I'm curious with you, would you also like to have like general celebrities? Or are you trying to keep this in athletes? Like who else would you want to be a part of these big events?
Yeah, we like creating these events around certain themes. So certainly we'd love to do other celebrities, other athletes from other sports on different themes. So, we're working on a basketball theme right now around March Madness that we hope to pull off. And in the summer, hopefully we can do something that's more entertainment oriented. So maybe some movie stars, some television people, see how that evolves. And we've done an event called ACL Charity Day where we mixed and matched, where we had a variety. We did that out in LA. We had a couple athletes. We had a couple TV stars, and that was a really cool format as well for charity. So yeah, the cool thing about our sport is that it's flexible, it's adaptable. We can do a lot of fun things with it.
Yeah, and I think that it covers a broad range. Like you're not playing basketball or anything like that. It is very skill intensive, but I think a very wide range of people can do it, which I think is the inherent advantage of all of this. So what time is the Super Bowl event tomorrow on ESPN?
So the Super Bowl is at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. And then we follow up with our kickoff battle broadcast on ESPN2, 4 p.m. on Sunday.
Great.
We'll have digital network coverage all weekend of our events on watch.iplayacl.com. And we'll actually be doing a special broadcast for DraftKings on Saturday afternoon.
Awesome. Perfect. So, yep, make sure you guys take that down. So we'll transition here towards the end, towards the big game. I guess we'll call it that for now. The Chiefs are playing the Buccaneers. Who is your money on, especially after the Chiefs maybe lost some offensive linemen? Does that sway your opinion at all?
It probably does. I haven't gone through a detailed analysis yet because I'm trying to get through Super Bowl, but I would still probably lean towards the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. I think but it's probably going to come down to whichever quarterback has the ball in their hand at the end of the game.
Yeah, and I actually have to ask you this too, because I feel like it's the big topic going around right now. Is Tom Brady the greatest athlete of all time? Not in the sense of physically, but considering this run and everything he's done, is he the greatest competitive athlete that you've ever seen in your life?
So yeah, it's hard to argue against it. I mean, his accomplishments certainly speak for themselves. Getting his team to a Super Bowl, first time being there after being with the Patriots for so long, it's definitely amazing what he's been able to accomplish. And so you probably have to give him the GOAT of all GOATs, maybe is the appropriate title for Tom Brady.
It's hard to argue that as well. I totally agree. I'm looking forward to it. Well, Stacey, thank you so much for joining on Vegas Sports Daily today. We had a great time, and good luck on this awesome event you have going on tomorrow. Again, it's on ESPN. We'll catch up soon. Hopefully have you on soon again.
Awesome. Anytime.
All right. Thank you, guys. We'll catch you next time.